In this video presentation, we're going to reference a heavy industry asset integrity inspection-driven turnaround event. Whether you're using Primavera P6 or MS Project, this industry best practice methodology is applicable. Assuming we've used industry best practices for detailed planning and estimating, using direct activities and direct tool time hours only, where productivity factors will be applied during scheduling to make up for non-productive time, let's learn how to control the execution of this event using best practices for measuring performance and taking corrective action to manage changing conditions. First, let's look at the setup and definitions of a Level 1 to Level 3 schedule. Reminder, schedule is a verb to produce the most optimized plan, lowest cost, shortest duration, fewest resources. We begin with Level 1 milestones for the event feed-out to feed-in, where we freeze the milestones with mandatory start or mandatory finish using a 24/7 calendar. The reason we freeze milestones is because they are the targets we must aim for, even if an activity is going negative float. Our functional role as planners, schedulers, executioners, and controllers is to predict melting and burning float and take corrective action to avoid it or recover from it. More on this shortly. You can see here that we establish what is called the longest path of the event within the mechanical phase. There is zero float available on the longest path. Reminder, the longest path could be one job or several, and they might be critical or non-critical in terms of constructability, complexity, risk, and so on. Often, a CAPEX project will form the longest path and be critical based on a one-off, which can often be unpredictable as opposed to routine asset integrity turnaround event activities. The longest path will be on a 7x12x2 calendar, basically 24/7. Reminder, we schedule assets and work, not resources. We coordinate resources. Next, we'll use systemization, not WBS, as in a typical EPC project, and we'll phase each system with milestones. Again, we'll freeze the milestones based on the execution strategy from LOTO, lockout/tagout, to PSSR, pre-safety startup review. Here we'll determine system critical path, activities with less than 24 hours of float. Notice here where the critical path in the system has negative float. This is schedule variance, SV. Do not use schedule performance index, SPI, for this. Again, this is why we freeze the milestones. We don't move them. Moving them only gives more float to non-critical activities and delays the demobilization of contractors. They'll use the float they've been given. Our job is to prevent and/or correct negative float by limiting melting, delays without cost, or burning, delays with cost. Next, we have activities we refer to as near-critical based on less than 72 hours of available float. These activities automatically turn yellow in Primavera P6 scheduling software. Near-critical activities can multiply on a turnaround event if float is being melted or burned. This is why we do not focus all of our attention on the so-called critical path. Often, there are multiple critical paths within the event phases or systems. Now let's take a look at the traditional S-curve and earn versus burn performance management. We begin by plotting a cumulative curve for the direct field labor, DFL, hours plotted on the blue line. These are the hours we pay for, which is not the same as the hours required for time on tools, which we call direct tool time, DTT, hours, plotted on the green line. Note, these two lines and amounts are also frozen as part of the baseline, where the expected changes will produce revised curves after day 1. The baseline is to reference amounts, not timing of activities. This is important as we need the flexibility to move activities based on changing conditions, but we also need high earn and low burn. Let's take a look at how we control earn versus burn and calculate direct tool time performance. By day 15, we have earned a % complete of 38,000 hours. This is referred to as Schedule Performance Index, or SPI, and it's slightly below what we had forecasted to earn. The purple line is below the green line. Next, we look at the actual value in terms of cost to earn the % completed hours. Here the measurement is 53,200, which includes the cost of tool time and non-productive time. For example, safety talks, awaiting permits, travel, access, breaks, and cleanup. If you remember, we said we would apply the productivity factor, PF, during scheduling, not during detailed step-out planning. However, if you have included non-productive time during planning, you'll need to add it back into the calculation. Another opportunity to control the execution performance of the turnaround event is to use a banana curve, and to measure float melt and burn. The data for the banana curve, where float lives, is calculated from Primavera P6 or Microsoft project as early start/late start and early finish/late finish. I recommend that you incorporate the banana curve into your key performance indicator, KPI, dashboard, and report daily on float melt and burn, and who is burning the float, and the related cost and schedule impacts. Remember, your value contribution recognition can be quantified by demonstrating high utilization of resources based on the data you've captured from planning, earned, and actual, SPI, CPI, SV, and float status. The formula for calculating direct tool time performance is earned value divided by planned value times earned value divided by actual value times the PF, as required. In this example, we have a performance, or P lowercase f of 1.0, which is our target. Anything below 1.0 is poor performance, and anything greater than 1.0 is better performance. We must measure this SPI/CPI earned versus burned direct tool time performance each day or shift. However, a method of capturing actual value is required. For example, shift timesheets, force reports, invoices, or LEMS, labor, equipment, materials, services. Personally, I recommend a digitalized web-based LEMS that every contractor, sub, vendor, and employee completes each shift, which must be added to contract terms and conditions and institutionalized at an enterprise level within the organization. Again, here is the formula for calculating direct tool time performance. Earned value divided by planned value times earned value divided by actual value equals performance, or uppercase P lowercase f. To summarize, here are some key bullet points to remember to help you control your next heavy industry turnaround event: productivity factor, cost performance index, schedule performance index, performance, direct tool time, direct field labor, schedule variance, milestones, baselines, S-curves, and banana curve. If you'd like to become a sustaining member of iAPSCC and earn your digital credentials badge as a registered maintenance or project planner, scheduler, or project/controls analyst, be sure to join at www.iapscc.com.